Hi! On this personalization continuum page on the Teacher Tech Tools website, you have some grading conventions and some suggested data to highlight in the classroom. I'm going to walk through really quickly on this screencast how to pull this data so that you're prepared to start putting these specific grades in your gradebooks and to start posting data and messaging data to your students in your classroom. Before I start, I want to be very clear that all of this is not set in stone at all. It's very fluid and something that we want to iterate on. We're sort of taking a hack approach of just going for it and trying it rather than trying to find the perfect thing, which doesn't exist anyway. So I'm really happy to hear your feedback and your ideas about what might be better data points or how this works or maybe doesn't work. So I'm just saving that page real quick. So I'm going to go through each of the core programs and just tell you really quick within the program how to find this data so that you can use it for gradebooks and in your classroom. And just want to emphasize again, not set in stone, something that we want to iterate on. Really happy to have your feedback on it. And as I go, I'll sort of talk about certain areas where we're just trying this out and we need to see what works the best. So let's start with IXL. For IXL grading, right now we are working towards putting in our gradebook every single week an average SMART score for each student. Really, we just want a snapshot of how a student is doing on IXL. Now, if we are doing personalization, these snapshots should be accurate. Meaning, if we have our students grouped by skill level or by grade level from the data that we have, and we're having them working on different skills, maybe similar skills but different grade levels, their SMART scores should be reflective of their skills and how they're doing and the effort that they're putting in. There shouldn't be a situation where a student has a really low SMART score average because they're working on skills that are way too hard for them, right? The point is that we're leveling it out in a way that this type of grade metric should work. Again, we're just trying it and we'll see how it works. But we want that average SMART score recorded every week in the gradebook. So I'm going to show you really quickly how to get that, the easiest way that I've found in IXL, and we'll continue to iterate and find the best way. So in the reports section of IXL, if you go to performance and then to recent skills, this is the easiest way I've found to find that. It's going to show all of your students and the skills that they have worked on this week. So you got to make sure that you select this week from this time selection and update your report if it was something different. And then if you scroll down, you'll see every single student on your roster. This is just a dummy account I created with a bunch of 8th graders. And the skills that they worked on this week. So it should be the same as what you assigned them. And you can just look at these and find an average and give that average as a score out of 10 for your students. So you want to take into account, did I just barely assign this yesterday? Have they not had enough time? Look at this column and just do what makes the most sense as far as gathering a snapshot of a SMART score for students. Students need to know that these SMART scores are going to be part of their grades. They're being held accountable for them, but obviously you're going to be fair about it. You're not going to include this score when they've only worked on it for 6 minutes. So you can scroll through this entire thing and hopefully that shouldn't take too long to kind of just get a snapshot SMART score for each student for that week. Make it out of 10 and add it to your gradebook. If you want to see this a little bit differently, you can click here to export it and that will create a CSV file if you really love Excel and you want to collect your data that way and then copy and paste it into your gradebook, whatever works best for you. You can see here, just like make sure that these filters are correct to what you're working on. So you'll choose your classroom here and I would make sure that you choose all grades since you're going to have students working on different grade level skills. So that is how you can find the SMART score to add into the gradebook. Again, iterate with it, see what works the best. I also included some suggested data to highlight in the classroom. So these are things that you can put up on the wall or talk about as a class just to motivate your students, get some competition, get some excitement about the programs. So you can do whatever you want with this. You might find a lot better metrics to put up, but I just wanted to give some suggestions. So a couple for IXL are medals earned, which means skills mastered. Like maybe you have a student who's just mastered a ton of skills and you want to give them a shout out, or you want to have a wall where students can move their names up if they master 10 or 20 or 30 skills or whatever it might be. So I just want to show you quickly where that is. Again, under performance and then performance by student, I found the easiest way to find number of skills mastered is here. Change these filters to be what you would like. And then if you just click here on skills mastered, it's going to sort it that way. So you can say, I want to give a shout out to Joel because he has mastered 34 skills, and maybe everybody above 50 has a special honor, whatever you want to do in your class. But that's just a way to find that. And the results might be skewed based on what grade level they were practicing on. So you can keep that in mind. Maybe somebody's just like mastering a ton of kindergarten skills so that they can get medals. So keep that in mind, but this just might be a good way to highlight students that are putting a lot of work into Excel. The other metric that I suggested was just class average SMART scores. Maybe you want to work towards a certain goal as a class for a certain skill, or you just want to motivate your students by showing how you're doing as a team. If you go to status update and then class overview, you'll see your class averages. So it's loading, but down here we go, it's going to show class average SMART scores for specific skills. So maybe you really want to focus on U.9. You realize that your average is 44 and you want that to go up. Message that to your students, show them that you can find that metric and that you can all watch it go up together. So that is another suggestion, but there's tons of reports in Excel, as I've shown you before and you've probably discovered. So explore, find the best things that you want to showcase in your classroom. Let's move on to Newsela. For Newsela, the gradebook, the grading convention is an average quiz score, which is super easy to find in Newsela. Again, just like iExcel, that should work because it is a personalized thing that students are working on different levels. If we let Newsela do its work of leveling students based on their performance, then they're going to be at the right Lexile level. So I'll emphasize that I think it's best if students do not touch their Lexile level except for very extenuating circumstances. Let Newsela do the work of leveling them in the right way so that they're on the right level, and then their scores should be reflective of their effort because they are leveled into the right level, if that makes sense. So in Newsela, in your binder, so you'll click on binder at the top of the page. I'm in Mr. Allen's account right now. You'll be able to see quiz averages. So it's already averaged out for you. You can change this time. So I'm going to change this is all the way back in 2013, to just last week, let's say. I need a grade from last week. It will automatically change it, and I see these quiz averages right here, and this is the score that I'm going to give these students out of 10. So it's not a huge score out of 100 that's really affecting their grade, it's just a score out of 10 to keep them accountable for the work that they're doing on Excel. Hopefully this should also motivate them to get on the right level so that they're getting scores that are accurate and not too hard and not too easy. So that is how you will find that for grading. Again, maybe we find a better metric to grade with. Right now this is what we want to try. For some suggested data that you can highlight in the classroom, average quiz scores for your entire class and average quiz level might be two good things that are really easy to find that could just motivate your students as a team. So I'm going to change these dates to maybe the whole month of October. And maybe I wanted to message to my students that we're reading on an average about a 4th grade level. And so we want to keep pushing that up. It would be awesome to have this class see those numbers go up week by week, month by month. We're on a 7th grade level. Now on average, we're above a 7th grade level, whatever it might be. Same with quiz average. Message to students, hey, on average, we're only getting about half of the questions right in quizzes. Let's push that up together and watch those numbers take off, hopefully. So those are some ideas for Newsela. Let's talk quickly about NoRateInk. NoRateInk is tricky because there is not as much data and not as many places where we can look for some good metrics. So we're just going to try what we have and go from there. So for no writing, the grading convention is only bi-weekly because we use no writing a little bit less. We only need a grade in the grade book every other week, but still keeping students accountable by adding that to their grade. And the metric is their average quiz score over those 2 weeks. Quizzes are different than assignments in no writing. I'm going to go there really quick. Sorry, I'm in a different place that I'll show you later. But assignments in no writing allow students to try as many times as they can or as they want. And it's great practice, but it's not going to give us a good score for a grade. So if we go here to assigned work, I'll show you the results on a assignment. And again, I'm in Mr. Allen's account, so thanks for letting me do that, even though I didn't ask. And you'll see that a lot of these students scored 100%. And that's because they could keep trying. It's not really an assessment, right? It's just practice. So for their score in the grade book, it's going to need to be a quiz, which is more of an assessment. It gives scores based on students' first answers. So I don't think many of you have been using quizzes, so that's something we're going to need to start doing. And maybe it's just at the end of the 2 weeks you want to give a quiz, and that is their grade. Maybe you want to give one every week. You get to decide. But you'll find that in the same way. In assigned work, you'll go here to quizzes. It will look exactly the same as it looks here in assignments. You'll view results, and you'll be able to see those percentages quickly. I wish there was a way to export it so you could just copy and paste into your gradebook, but unfortunately there's not. And again, hopefully this won't take tons of time. Those are the kind of things I need feedback about. Obviously we don't want things like this just eating up all of your time. So that is how you would find the gradebook metric for no writing. Some suggested metrics for your whole class that I have for no writing are probably not going to be able to be implemented for a couple months until we start using no writing more, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you click on progress, then you're going to see all of your students and a overall mastery score. So this includes their assignments, their quizzes, and their practice, which I showed you in the other no writing screencast if you want to review that, and I'll show you in just a second as well. But this sort of includes everything that they've done on no writing, so it's maybe a good thing to showcase in the classroom. So I'll show you, if I hover over any student, the mastery score is going to show up there. Sorry, I can't show you with the cursor because it will move, but the mastery score is going to show up there when there's more data. And that's just a good snapshot of how the student is doing on no writing. No writing isn't super adaptive and personalized, right, as much as Newsella and we hope with IXL, as we're assigning different leveled skills. So it's kind of just a snapshot of how they're doing in grammar generally. But maybe you want to find an average mastery score for a specific category. There's some other things that we could do as far as posting and messaging metrics from no writing in the classroom, but I'm going to talk about that more probably in the future when we have a lot more data in here. And the screencast is almost over, so I have to hurry. But those are some ideas for no writing. For accelerated reader, I'm hoping that most of you have already done this because I've seen your AR walls in your classrooms. And hopefully you've been using the trackers with your students, so they've been checking their own practice. But I just want to make sure that everybody knows how to find out what percentage of the goal students are at. And that is the grade that you need to put in the grade book at the end of the 6-week marking period. And it's also obviously the same thing that we're posting in classrooms. So that's my suggested metric for posting in the classroom. So I have 30 seconds to show you. If you go to Accelerated Reader, and then you go to reports, you're going to be able to click on reading practice right here, and then goal history right here. And it's going to generate a report for you. Click view report, that will show you every single student, the different marking periods, and how close they are to their goal. So you'll see it right here. So Roger is at 52.4% of his goal, and the screencast is going to end. So good luck with all